Entonces en el momento que hago la pregunta le aprieto.
No, apriétala desde ahorita ya, yo lo edito.
Okay.
Your father is here as well.
Okay.
Sí, empieza a grabar.
No, es que se fue la pantalla negra.
De hecho ya, está grabando. Nada más póntelo más cercano acá para tener buen audio.
Okay. What has been the importance of Mexico as member of ITTO?
Okay, so first of all, I think Mexico has become a member in 2005, and since then has played a very important role in the work of ITTO. We had a lot of important events, especially the renegotiation in 2006 of the International Tropical Timber Agreement, and Mexico was a very proactive and constructive partner in this. And since then we have had a lot of interaction with Mexico, and I would say Mexico has benefited from ITTO through projects and in knowledge sharing and so on. But we have also benefited a lot from Mexico in ITTO to share the experience gained here, especially in community forestry, in sustainable forest management, in the role of ejidos and indigenous peoples, and we were able to transpond that into our general work with other countries and so on. And I would say that the benefit of Mexico in ITTO, through ITTO, was I think that we have kickstarted some important projects and discussions like payment for environmental services and marketing of native indigenous species and so on. The economic valuation of forests, I think these were very important milestones in the discussion of international forestry. And so I think Mexico has played a key role also in the context of forests and climate change, not only through the COP, which was in Cancun, but also through the forward thinking in adding or in reflecting the role of forests in forests and climate change.
A little bit already related, but what are the major areas of work or collaboration between ITTO and Mexico?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Mexico has hosted, for example, an important forum for investors, an investment forum, in 2006 or 5 or 6 or so, and I think that was one of the first fora which where private investors and investment was considered in a more open way and through in an international way. We have had a major discussion in Mexico on criteria indicators for sustainable forest management of tropical forests. As I mentioned, the valuation of tropical forests, especially mangrove forests. And I think we were able to produce a small video as a result, and we inform other member countries of ITTO about the value of a piece of forest, a piece of mangrove, not only for water, not only for air, but also for biodiversity, economic value, tourism, and so on. So I think the idea of payment for environmental services has developed further in the meantime, and basically Mexico has integrated now that into major large-scale projects in the context of the climate investment funds and so on, because not all forests are good for economic use. Some forests need to be protected in erosion control because they're too steep, there are water landslides or whatever, and some have to be conserved for biodiversity simply. And there are populations around these forests who still have a need for livelihood, and their payment for environmental services makes people live in those areas and not be forced to migrate out, and to have an income source of income for their livelihoods.
And in your opinion, what is the future of the forestry sector in Mexico?
Well, the forestry sector in Mexico has several opportunities, but has also some challenges. As I mentioned in my presentation today, we have a strong population growth in Mexico. We have an increased demand for people who need a roof above their head. They need to have furniture, they have to have paper, and so on. So we have made a calculation some time ago, and we came up that if Mexico continues to use forests like this, we will have a huge supply gap in 2040, 2050, which is basically higher what the total production is now. So it is up to 45 million cubic meters a year, whereas the demand is 70 million cubic meters. So then there's a question how to react to this. Mexico can import more timber from Canada or from United States and furniture from China, but you know, investing in forests would also create new jobs, new income, livelihoods for rural people, because that's where forests are, and we are not dealing with cities per se, but people who have no livelihood in rural areas, they might go to the cities. And I think big cities have an own problem on its own. And then the opportunity is also, we talk of bioeconomy today, and the Intergovernmental on Climate Change clearly said that if we would use more wood instead of concrete and steel, that would save a lot of CO2 emissions. And so politically, more wood, more sustainable use of wood would mean that Mexico can achieve the goals of it has committed to at the Paris Agreement, at the COP in Paris. And so more sequestration from forests or substitution of other material would mean that other parts of the economy could develop, because in industry and housing and transport and so on. So it's a win-win situation basically for Mexico.
From your point of view, where do you think that ITTO could work to strengthen CONAFOR's programs?
Well, I think ITTO is a small player compared to other big donor organizations like the World Bank or FAO and so on. So we always will be supporting Mexico in a more catalytic way to bring new ideas, to pilot innovation and so on. And I think if you look at the specter of where we can make a decision, a contribution, it is in an area where a lot of development needs to happen in the future. It is this log tracking certification to follow the tree from the forest to the markets, because you can only claim a credit for a good doing in the context of climate change and sustainability if you can prove that this tree or this product is coming from a sustainable source. So I think we have got some experience in different countries about that with very good outcomes, and we suggest now to address this log tracking and recording and tracing of timber in a more regional approach, because also in the region there is a lot of trading of wood, And I think if we do it in a regional way, that would be also improving the opportunities in the region for international trade, because it's so complicated to have in each country a different system. It confuses buyers, it confuses market players and so on. And I think our role could be to make the life easier for good people to produce forests. So, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.